Hi again, John Florez. I know, I promised I was through, but I'm not. And here's why. I just saw the Netflix documentary on David Foster's life and career. Oh my goodness, it prompted so many thoughts that I'd really like to share them with you just for the fun of it. Fascinating that a film can just trigger so many feelings, emotions, thoughts, concerns, moments of pride. List goes on and on and on. Well, to begin with, there's something you probably should know, and that is that the word was out in my record days when I was an independent producer. It's a quote from a very highly connected label president in the LA record business at the time who said, John's really an excellent producer, but he just doesn't play the game. And I didn't. So, as I've told you before, I didn't do drugs. I didn't drink much then. I started drinking more later. I didn't really cheat on my wife or finagle deals where favors were exchanged. I didn't give away publishing. I didn't wheel and deal, and I wasn't remotely ambitious. All these things count against your being a successful producer. But the thing that I realized most in seeing David Foster's documentary is that David sat down each time that he produced an artist, and his goal was to create a masterpiece, something that was enduring, a work of art. That would never have occurred to me, nor would I have wanted to do it. First, I didn't have the talent to do it because, boy, David, he plays everything, he writes everything, he produces everything, he coaches, the whole shebang. But I didn't have the skills to make masterpieces, or if I did, that attention to detail just is not in my vocabulary. I'm sorry. And so when he says that he made Celine Dion sing that high note in her tune, and forget the name of the tune right now, but had her sing it 13 times, it was this really loud, long, hard on your voice high note, which in the end run produced something that I don't think Celine could have ever done unless she was pushed to do it. But I'm sorry, there's no way in the world that I would have done that. I would have, maybe if she wanted to do a take two after the initial take, I would say, okay, that's up to you, but you hit it perfectly the first time, and we're not going for the nth degree of perfection here. I'm happy if you're happy. And that's the attitude. I'm sorry, I'm just not that way. And it reminded me, this Foster biography, with this stuff going on like that in his life. In 1983, I sat in on one of Jimmy Bowen, first he was a pop producer and then a country producer's session in Nashville where he was mixing Conway Twitty. And I saw him bring up word by word off of 10 separate lead vocal tracks. He kept bringing bits and pieces up until he assembled those into a finished vocal. I'm sorry, I don't have that in me either. I work for the artist, and when the artist wants to sing, the artist will sing it all the way through, and if they're not happy, we'll fix a part or two, or they'll sing it again, or both. But there's no way that I'm going to pay that amount of attention to detail. I'm happy if the artist's happy. Same thing with a friend of mine who was involved in a country record, male vocal performance, Grammy Award-winning record. He said that it was 51 months of separate vocal takes to get that, quote, one performance, unquote. Sorry. Wouldn't have wanted to do that, wouldn't have wanted to work with the artist if the artist wanted to do that. I just want people to go in and do their thing. And you see, if David's trying to create a masterpiece, which he did time and time again, I'm trying to produce a widget, a shoe. I'm trying to produce a product that represents the artist and that the artist is happy with, I think I told you the story about Stephanie Phillips. I apologized to her for cutting a demo that the labels weren't interested in at all, and she had a 4-octave range, and she was Mariah Carey before there was a Mariah Carey, really. And what happened is I went to apologize to her one night at a nightclub, and I said, we spent that time, and I'm sorry you didn't get a deal off it. And I think I just went too, I don't know, what would you call it? Let me think on this. I just went too esoteric with you, I think. I know we decided mutually on these tunes and these performances, but maybe I should have, fed the music machine a little. And she said, John, you're the first producer I worked with. Now I've worked with a bunch of them, and I have a major deal pending with another label, and you're the only one that caught the real me and what I really do. You captured that, and here you are apologizing for it. She said, marketable? I don't know whether it was marketable or not, but it was me. Okay, same deal. Now to wrap this up on David Foster's, because there's so much that I could do to just drag this out, and I won't. And that's with the group Chicago. Okay, I would have been the ideal producer. Now, let's change that. I did pop soul groups that were mocha mix groups and acts that leaned a little more white than black, but they were meant to cross over, right? So no, I didn't do bands. But I did do 2 horn bands. One is Mirth, that you can see on my website, and another I did later on in 1973 with a group called the Gringos that sounds very much like Chicago. And I'm sorry I didn't get a chance at Chicago before David Foster got them, okay? I would have loved to have done it and had zero success. See, ambition, success, that wasn't my goal. My goal was to represent the artist, to have them sound like they sound. And the Gringos have told me since, they said, of the people we've worked with, you brought out what we sounded like. That's how we sound. Okay, so I would have liked Chicago, the group, at that point, who was struggling in their career, to have one more shot at the gold ring as a horn band, because that's what they were. That's what their success was. That's what they performed. That was their heart and soul. Okay, granted, we may disagree on some material. We may have to pick some other stuff. We might have to make some adjustments, but there is no way in the world that I could have done, I don't know, pick another songwriter for Peter Cetera other than David Foster to co-write songs with. Okay, I could no more tell the group Chicago that Peter Cetera was going to co-write all the tunes on the album. There'd be no horns. They wouldn't play their own instruments, and inside production by a couple of people. No. I'm not in any way demeaning those masterful records that David Foster made with, quote, Chicago, unquote, but that's not really Chicago. That's Peter Cetera sings David Foster and Peter Cetera. Okay, nothing wrong with that. In fact, they probably laughed their way to the bank. But I know from various interviews and various documentaries that there's still some bad blood over that decision. And I'm just telling you that as a type of producer who honored the artist and the artist vision, I could not have done that 180-degree shift that David Foster did, and did so successfully, and created masterpieces with. Okay, when you watch David in this documentary, and I highly recommend it, just focusing on note by note by note, the man is a genius and a perfectionist. Sorry, not me. I'm making a widget. We're going to try to represent the artist. We're going to have the best song we can have at the time, whatever that is, and that's the best we were able to do. And we're going to get it done quickly, cleanly, under budget, and move on to whatever we're doing next. So to watch a perfectionist at work and a master music politician. See, David has the ability to be a kind, gentle soul, and a whole bunch of people really love him, but he can also be a jerk. And he can have a rough edge, and he has very much a controlling mechanism that he admits to. And see, this just is totally new to me. Again, remember, I really didn't belong in the music business. I was just there at that period of time doing assignments with people who wanted to make music and have some fun and make a good product. Never occurred to me to start making works of art, masterpieces. And when I think about David Foster, Quincy Jones is another one, probably the two greatest producers of my lifetime in the pop field. All I can say is more power to you guys. You are just the best of the best. And it's been interesting for me to see my shortcomings, which are also, from an integrity point of view, it fits me like a glove, being me. So I'm not going to make the amount of money that those guys made because I'm not focused as minutely as they are on the minutia and on the incredibleness. My focus was just on getting a good representation of the product out to the market. It didn't even matter to me whether it sold. As long as I did a good job by the artist, they were happy and I was happy. Everybody's happy. If the label likes it, that's a bonus. And then if the public likes it, that's the final bonus. But the real fun for me was just doing a good job by who hired me. And you would say, that's the label. Well, it's not. They paid the bills. But the artist is the one that needs to be fulfilled. And as long as that's happening, I'm happy. Okay, you guys, take care. That's longer than I wanted to go. If you have any feedback, you just let me know. And I hope you're all safe and well. Take care. Bye-bye.